It's very sensitive. All set? Ladies and gentlemen, the time now being 7:05 p.m., and with 37 registered voters being checked in for this special town meeting, we are short of our required quorum of 150 voters. As you may be aware, special legislation was passed earlier this year to allow towns to conduct town meetings during the ongoing state of emergency, and specifically the legislation allowed towns to temporarily lower their quorum requirements while the COVID-19 pandemic continued to create health and safety concerns for our citizens. The goal of a lower quorum was to provide a means for towns to conduct the town's legislative business, approve town budgets, and make other town decisions while not requiring a large crowd to gather for an extended period of time. A lower quorum does not restrict the number of voters who can attend a town meeting, but it allows us to get started promptly as soon as the required minimum number of voters has checked into the auditorium. On June 8, 2020, the Board of Selectmen exercised this authority and voted to reduce our quorum to 50 voters so that we could proceed with our town meetings scheduled on June 22nd. Those meetings were completed safely and successfully, and some proposed warrant articles were intentionally omitted from that June town meeting in accordance with an express plan to revisit those articles at a special town meeting to be held sometime this fall. That special town meeting was scheduled for tonight, October 19th, 2020. And those postponed articles and several new articles were included in the warrant for this special town meeting. One of those articles requests the town's approval to borrow money. Several articles ask for the voters' approval of proposed amendments to our zoning bylaws, our general bylaws, and our town charter, and other articles seek your approval to authorize the expenditure and investment of additional state aid funds which have been made available since our June town meeting. It is important to ensure that all of those votes are conducted and completed in compliance with the law so that they will be enforceable and unchallenged. But here is what happened. Like all other towns, Abington retains the service of bond counsel, which are attorneys who review and approve all of the steps leading to the issuance of bonds and notes for the borrowing of money to ensure that those bonds can be legally sold on behalf of the town. Including in bond counsel's review is a review of the warrant, the motions, and the procedures required to call a town meeting and to determine a legally binding vote of town meeting for bonding purposes. Bond counsel informed us late last week that the Selectmen's vote on June 8th to lower the quorum for our June 22nd town meeting would not, in their opinion, be effective for this October 19th town meeting. Instead, in the interest of ensuring that all votes taken tonight would be legally binding, Bond counsel informed the town that it would require the Board of Selectmen to schedule and take a new and separate vote to lower our quorum for this special town meeting before we could proceed with any votes with less than 150 registered Abington voters in attendance. But here's the problem. Unfortunately, that same statute which allows the temporary lowering of the quorum also contains a requirement that the Selectmen must post a notice at least 7 days before their scheduled vote to lower the quorum. Obviously, given the fact that this issue was brought to our attention on Thursday and Friday of last week, we did not have enough time to post the required 7-day notice and allow the Selectmen to take the vote to lower the quorum for tonight's meeting. The statute which allows the lower quorum recites that the Board of Selectmen may vote to lower the quorum, quote, for any town meeting to be held during the Governor's March 10, 2020 declaration of a state of emergency. This wording could be interpreted to say that the Selectmen's June 8th vote to lower the quorum should apply to any and all town meetings to be held during the ongoing public health emergency. But the statute could also be interpreted to require a separate quorum reduction vote for any town meeting. Bond counsel has determined that a separate vote is needed, and given the fact that we did not have time to schedule and complete such a quorum vote, we can only proceed tonight if 150 registered voters or more were in attendance, which then creates other concerns for us about social distancing requirements within an enclosed building space for a meeting which could last about 3 hours or more. Many people have been working very hard around the clock to prepare for this town meeting, and we're all very disappointed. And I know that each of you here tonight have obviously taken time out of your lives to be here for the betterment of our community. However, if we were to proceed forward tonight, there is an obvious and likely risk that any votes approving a borrowing article or to approve a zoning amendment or to approve the expenditure of available funds would be rejected by the State Attorney General's office or might be challenged in court by an aggrieved resident. It makes no sense to hold you here tonight, given that 150 registered voters are not present despite the 7 p.m. start time of this meeting, and we don't want to hold this meeting twice and take all those votes twice. And based on various public meeting schedules, the upcoming federal election, notice requirements, and in order to avoid nights in November, which already have previously scheduled public hearings, the Town Manager's Office and the Board of Selectmen are suggesting that we meet on Tuesday, November 17th, 2020, at which time a lower quorum is expected to be in effect. The lower quorum will also allow us to start promptly at 7 p.m. and to utilize our public health protocols for the protection of all voters who attend. So we have one vote to take tonight. Given all of the above, the Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Mr. Tim Chapin, has submitted a motion to adjourn this special town meeting of October 19th, 2020, to the date of Tuesday, November 17th, 2020, at 7 p.m. here at the Abington Middle High School auditorium. Please note that there will be no new warrant issued or posted, and there will be no mailed notice, as this November 17th meeting will be considered a continuation of tonight's October 19th town meeting. So please mark your calendars for November 19th. After we take this vote, I'm sorry, the 17th, November 17th. Thank you. After we take this vote, please wait for an usher to come to your section, and he or she will direct you to the appropriate exit doorway, and please keep your distance from each other. Please keep your masks on, and please do not congregate within the school hallways. So do I have a second on the motion of the chairman to continue this town meeting, adjourn it to November 17th, 2020? Second from Mr. Connolly. All those in favor of the motion on the floor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The majority rules. We had one no for those who couldn't hear at home. I want to thank you for your attendance, but I'd like to announce that this meeting is now adjourned until November 17th, 2020, 7 o'clock here in the auditorium. Thank you.